Bonjour tout le monde, on va débuter le premier bloc qui est la loi et la procréation médicalement assistée. J'aimerais vous présenter Estela Chardon. Estela Chardon, je vais faire une petite biographie d'Estela pour la présenter, puis après Estela va pouvoir faire sa présentation. Elle a débuté sa carrière en tant qu'ingénieure chimiste jusqu'au jour de sa naissance, jusqu'au jour de la naissance de sa première fille, et une naissance qui a été rendue possible grâce au don d'ovules. Son expérience l'a profondément transformée avec l'infertilité. Elle a changé de cap, puis de cap professionnel pour pouvoir aider les autres couples avec leur projet de fonder une famille. Elle complète ses études de psychologie en 2007, puis elle s'implique depuis 1996 avec l'association Concebir en tant que membre du conseil d'administration. Elle enseigne à l'Université de Buenos Aires et elle travaille à l'unité des soins intensifs en néonatologie. Alors, on accueille Estela de l'Argentine.
Good morning, everybody. I think the name of my organization is a word in Spanish, concebir, that means conceive in English, and in French it should be to conceive, to have a baby.
Concevoir.
Concevoir. So that anytime I say conceive, you have that word in your mind. Okay. Thank you very much, and thank you for the organization to invite me to tell what we did in Argentina to have this law passed in year 2013. It's a quite new law, but we've been working for a long time for it. First of all, to give you an idea where we are over there in the northern Argentina, we are in the south. And okay, it's a big country, it is not as big as Brazil, but okay, it's hard to work in a big country. I think the same thing happened in Canada. You mentioned that you have different organizations all around the most important cities, and it's important to coordinate and to work together, because you said together we are stronger. The same thing happened in Latin America, and the same thing happened all around the world, internationally. Okay, Concebir was founded many years ago, in 1996, so that we are next year having 20 years of work. That's a long time. I'm one of the founders, and we are planning to retire soon. So that really 20 years, please. And okay, our main objective now is to generate new and train new people to go and to sustain the work that we did for such a long time. We started with these three objectives, then we moved to the most modern vision and mission. But I want to keep and to show you our original objectives, because I think that we were quite successful in them. The first of all is to support other infertile patients, and support them how? First of all, giving them the opportunity to share their feelings, and we work with workshops, and I will talk about that later. But that's more connected with emotions and with information, because 20 years ago you couldn't talk about infertility. It was a taboo, and people looked you down because you don't have babies, and people was very ashamed, and they were alone. Now, the second objective was to struggle to get an assisted reproduction technique law passed by the National Congress. The objective of this law was to have access to techniques and regulation. We have just access now. The regulation is still not ready, but access is very important too. And the last but not less important was to spread our problematic, our issues, our way, the way we suffer to the community so that they can change their attitude to infertile people. Okay, then I want to introduce you what Concebir is. Concebir works, as I told you, in a coordinated way. We're a member of different associations. The first is ICSI, the International Consumer Support for Infertility Patients. That we work there from associations from different continents. That's important. So I get to know our friends from Europe, but also friends from Japan, from Africa, okay? And I think that it's really, we learn a lot, one from each other, from the experience, for what we have done, okay, for our mistakes too. Then we have, maybe most of you know, IAPO, is an international patients organization that get together association from patients of different kind of diseases or illnesses, any kind, not only infertility. The first one is only for infertile patients. IAPO then has a regional division for Latin America. We are members too. And then we founded, following or being inspired by ICSI, we founded the Latin American Network for Infertile Patient Association in the year 2012. And I will show you later. And we have the name of the firm that I will show in the introduction. Now, this is not empty belly, it's empty womb. So that is the correction. And then we work on, we have an Argentinian network of patients. So why I mention that, but it is really important to work with other associations, not to be alone. And we make a comparison. The couple of the people with an infertility problem, being alone, they feel worse. It's harder for him to get pregnant and to go through the treatments. But if he's together, with other couples, with other people, they feel better and get better results. Then the Concebir team, we are partly professional, partly volunteers. I am a volunteer for 20 years. But I lead the psychology team. I work for free for Concebir, so that in my private activity, it's private, but anything I do for Concebir is for free, but not for my team. Okay, they are professionals and they are paid for that. They have private consult, yes, but they have the group, the meetings are for free. There are 10 people. Then we have a legal department that now it's quite important. You have 3 members there. They do the same. Part of their job is volunteer, but if they had to sue, if they had to start some kind of claim, okay, they get paid. Then we have the workshop coordinators, the patient who coordinate the different groups that we have, and they are 12 people. We have volunteers that they work part-time, they do what they can, and they are 40. And the members of the board, we are 8 people. The founders are 2, Mrs. Isabel Rolando and me, and we both are planning to retire, but the rest will go ahead. So that's who we are. And what we do, the most important thing I mentioned is the workshop, the meetings, the opportunity of people to get together. And we have 4 different groups. The first and the oldest is infertility in general, where heterosexual couples meet and debate and work about the problems that they have and the feelings that they have. Then we have a group of people who requires gamete donations, eggs or sperm, and this has a particularity that, okay, what means for you donation, how do you feel about that, what are you planning to do with your children, how are you supposed to talk with your children, and okay, and as it is such an important issue, then we created the Donor Family Network for Argentina. You know, I'm sure you know that there are many of these networks all around the world. You have in the States a very big one, Wendy Kramer, she's leading it, she's a friend of ours, she's very nice, she's a great person, she does a great work, and she has a huge organization. But in our country, we are still very few people. We think that around 2,000 children are born per year in our country, thanks to donation. But most of them, around 90%, are not going to know ever that they proceed from an egg or sperm donated. So that's really awful for us. We work for them, for their right to know the truth. And okay, as it is hard to convince people, then we have started working for the law to be changed, to give them the opportunity to know about their origin. Then we have another network, families in general, where we have adopted children, normal IVF children. We have normal children too, born in the middle of the treatment. The normal is a joke because sometimes people, journalists, authorities wonder if our children are normal. It sounds funny, but it's not. And then that's new for us because 20 years ago we didn't have this opportunity. We had the social networks, Facebook, Twitter, not Instagram because we are old, but maybe in the future. Okay, the work with the media is very, very important, and we have a special team for that. And the legislative management, I will explain, we need a special team of people trained to deal with authorities and with legislators. And at the end, because it's important too, people who work for design, edition and publications, because the idea is that everyone can afford from their own professional or expertise for the organization. Okay, and I go faster with that. What did we achieve? What did we were looking for? We were looking for assisted reproduction technique free access. That's what we needed, that's what we wanted. Okay, and this is the National Congress. The flags that you can see, the whites, are all of us looking at the deputies, were the deputies debating and pressuring them to get the law passed. So you have, I'm going to be brief, you just tell me about the time, any one of you please, because I like to talk, I'm so happy what we do. Our health system in Argentina, we have 3 sectors. We have the public hospitals, okay, they are completely free for everything you need, for everywhere. Anything you happen in Argentina, you can go to a hospital and you will be attended free. You don't have to pay for medicines, nothing. Okay, but with assisted reproduction techniques, we had a problem because you need a laboratory, yeah? and the medicines are expensive, and it was no law, the doctors couldn't ask for the medicines. So they did low complexity, many years, completely free, but after the law, then you can go to a hospital and you can have a treatment. I will explain how. Okay, everything is not perfect, you know, you can imagine. This is new, so that we don't have to wait many times, maybe 6 months, 1 year, but it is free. We belong to developing countries, so that we are not Canada or USA or Europe, so that is a big effort for the hospitals. But then in the private sectors, you have the prepaid system, something like, I think there exists in the USA, the insurance system for health. Okay, they didn't want to pay for IVF, obviously, because they are, sorry. They are companies and they want to earn money, so that they try to avoid IVF. They started to be forced by provincial laws, I will explain you now, and then they are obliged now for the national law since the year 2013. And then you have the private sector, where you have techniques since the year 1985. They are completely private, so that you can go there and you pay, you have no problem. Yes, but that means that only rich people could achieve a treatment, and that was not fair. That's what we say. Here is our country. We are a federal country. We have a national government, we have a national congress, but we have different provinces, and they are quite independent. So that they are so independent that the first province is not a very rich, is not a very important province, but in year 2009, they decided that they could start with a law, and they passed a law alone. And slowly, the other provinces started to there. Obviously, the most important province was Buenos Aires, that it was in December year 2010, and that would make the national government think, okay, we need a national law, because this is not normal that La Pampa has a law and we don't have a national law. And they started paying attention to all the things we did during many years, 15 years, 16 years. We've been working, and they did like that, and like that. Like the monkeys, you know that. But after the decision of this province, we were very grateful to this small province that started with the law. But there was a huge difference between the provincial laws and the national. In the provincial, the infertility was recognized as an illness, a medical illness. That was the way they found it to explain why it was important to talk about infertility. We do not agree with this concept, please. That what they say, that what they do in order to get the law passed, yes, but we do not agree with that. Then it was exclusive for heterosexual couples, and we do not agree with that either. And then, okay, they help, unions are very important in our countries, so that they make those arrangements with private clinics to offer free access to the treatment. And that meant that there was no development in the hospitals, so that you have not doctor trains, you have not investment at hospitals. And we do not agree with that either. So you say, okay, why are you so grateful to the province law, and if you do not share anything from that? Because it was the first step that pushes, with all the things we did, the government to take the decision, okay? Then came the national law. Okay, it was passed in June year 2013. It's mainly for assisted reproduction techniques, include access of same-sex couple and single women, and that's what we wanted. It wanted it to be open. It includes gamete donation. In provinces' laws, no gamete donation was allowed. And the limits and the regulation, the most important regulation are set up by the health minister, and that we really agree with that, is that infertility is a right, that you have the right to reproduce yourself, even if you have alone, even if you have the same-sex couple, even if you need gamete donation. It's a right, not an illness. We cannot talk more about illness. Sometimes it's hard to convince other associations about that, but they insist talking about illness. That happened in Latin America. When we work with other associations from Latin America, they talk still, I think that it's rather old, the concept of illness, but they still talk about illness. And we said, please don't be restrictive, we need something open. Society is changing, families are changing, so that please take that into account. Don't get a law passed that will be old in few years. And something what we do not, and we just say, oh, that people is complicated. Okay, we are not so complicated, but we learn a lot from other countries, really. And the absence of an age limit for the women, I think that this is very dangerous. It didn't happen yet, but it may happen that a woman of 64 years old come and ask for treatment, and they will be obliged by the law, because the law mentions no limit. The doctors, they have an agreement. They say mostly 50 years old, yes, and no more than that. But they know that if the woman appears and they say no, she will claim, and she can go to a judge for discrimination, because the law does not talk about the age, and the age is very important, because you know what happens when the mother has 60, 64, 65, and it's dangerous, really dangerous. And we always talk about the right of the parents, but we did not forget about the right of the children. We insist a lot about the right of the children, not only for gamete donation, the right to know about their origin, but also connected with that, with the age of the parents and the health of the parents. And then, that's important about identity. We have the new civil code this year, in August of this year. This is very, very new. And the first things, it generates a huge debate about the condition of the embryo. Is the embryo a person or not? We belong to a Catholic country, and we have a huge influence of the church. I know, because I've been walking around Montreal, and that you have a lot of churches here, but I noticed that you have a church for gays and lesbians, so that I say, okay, they have the churches, but they do not pay so much attention to that kind of things. But we have an Argentine Pope. Oh my God. He's nice, really nice. But the problem is the people in my country. We should send all there to Vatican and get free of them. Okay, and then they get crazy, they get mad when we talk about embryos. You can't imagine how freaking out then when we said we are going to have frozen embryos. Oh my God, what are you doing? Selection of embryos. Oh my God, that's terrible. Okay, and then they had a deal, a kind of agreement, and they said that the embryo is not a person before conception. Okay. Why are they so afraid? They are afraid because they connect that with abortion. Abortion is not permitted in my country. And I think that we are far away from that. Okay, you know that is one of the most important causes of maternal death all around the world, except where it is allowed and it's made properly, okay? But I think we are far away from that. That's another subject. But that's why they are so preoccupied and so worried about the status of the embryo. Then it includes assisted reproductive techniques as one of the ways of becoming parents, and that's important, is the civil code, so that it was included, it was recognized after so many years, because nobody mentioned them as, or us as parents, becoming parents through IVF. It wasn't recognized by the law. This is formal, I know this is formal, but it is important. This is the most important documents in a country, the civil code. Then defines father and mother, those who have the documents in the clinic, who signed they said the volunteer to become parents, so that leaves donors or the surrogates. We do not have surrogate illegally yet, but they let them outside. And talking about gamete donation, they talk about, they say it's anonymous for the parents, so that you can choose, you can have a book to say, okay, I like this, I like that, or to have some connections with the donor, but recognize the right of the children becoming adults to have information and to get in contact with the donor if they want, but always they will need to go through a judge, yes, to apply to a judge to get in contact. Here you have in Canada a terrific case for me, it's Olivia Bratton. I was so happy with her, and I thought that she will win, but in the end they said no. Okay, we have it in our civil code, so that we are really very happy. And now, what's next? Okay, we need the regulation, we need many things to know. Okay, for example, we need a registry for donors, we need to establish the amount of times that a person will be able to donate, we need to know, for example, if a donor should be paid or not, yes, that kind of things that has to do more with regulation. And okay, this is a law, and we have half passed of the law. We have the deputy habilitation, but not the senators. This year is a year of elections. We are going to change president, so that they are in another page. We are not talking about infertility, so that I think that we'll have to wait another year. And then, what did we do to get that? Which were our actions, our concrete actions? What did we do to get this possible? Okay, some image will help. You can see in the expression of some of us how excited we were, and sometimes, many times, how frustrated. I prefer to show happiness and not frustration, that's why. You can see me talking on the phone. I was talking with the deputy. He was not there. I said, where are you, please? They're starting to vote. Please come. That's what we do. That's real work. We phone. You have the phone number of the deputy and say, okay, we are waiting for you. When do you come? That's it's funny, but that's what you have to do. Okay.
It's not fun at all.
Those are the actions, and I will go through them with pictures so that you don't listen my awful English too much. Just to summarize them. We have street demonstration and explain why they are important. Working with the media is very important too. We have meetings with politicians, legislators, national and local health authorities. We talk with everybody. We knock the doors. We send leaflets. We send emails. Yes, you have to be there pressuring. You have to be there saying, hey, here we are. We represent a lot of people. Then conference, anytime. I'm here. I came here to talk. We go everywhere to explain, yes, and to try to transmit what we have learned for all these years. Okay, we have the patient participation in medical congresses too. We want doctors to listen to us and to hear what's going on with us. Workshop with patients and the coordinated work with other associations. Now, street demonstrations. Okay, in the middle you can see my youngest daughter. Now she's like here. She's 16 and the eldest is 20. She's studying for medicine. But they work with me a lot and it's very nice to have them. Yesterday we were here with a small boy walking around and my daughter said that's part of our story. Okay, we conceive, grow with us. At the beginning with no social networks, everything was on the phone or letters. And they remember me, that they were playing, "Mommy, Mommy, stop with conceive, come and play with me." And they knew that at least half an hour on the phone. Okay? Now with the emails, it's much better. And they like, and sometimes they come with us and they talk with the educator too, the eldest mostly. And the youngest, she likes the mood, the street, the balloons, that's what she prefers. Okay, this was a coordinated action with 3 organizations. It wasn't easy to put it there. This is the government house, the pink house. In the States they have the white house, we have a pink house. And we hang this huge flag. It's really hard work, but the idea was to tell them, no more lies, that's what you say there, no more lies. You always promise that you are going to debate or to pass the bill, but it's not true. Okay, then to choose the exact moment, when you have a demonstration in the street, you are looking for impact, okay? And you have to think different kind of things. In my country, it's very common public demonstrations. So they cut the street, they generate an awful traffic jam, people are crazy, hate them, and I don't know if they get something. Okay, then we didn't want to do that. We want to be creative. So that, for example, at night, it's very nice to walk with candles and to have that idea of the lights and the darkness as the opposite of what we want. The light of a born child to the darkness of waiting. And we walk always. But then, for example, you are talking about that's the empty baby stroll march. It's very common. Many countries use it. Okay, but you need a different time of the day. Sometimes we walk around the National Congress, but sometimes we did it in a park, for example, where you can compare. You can family it with your babies, and we have our empty baby stroll, yes, to push. Always the idea is to transmit, not just to protest, to transmit our feelings and to make people feel the same we do. And now, okay, obviously that's something, the man in the street is a very well-known journalist, and this kind of demonstration, they're quite interested for the media. They came, they take photos and they film, they like much for TV, okay, so that they invite them to come and share with us. And the idea of the candles, we have a motto for each demonstration. This one was near Christmas, and we write something like empty warm, empty Christmas. Yes, that was the motto, that what we wanted to transmit. Another holiday, another end of the year, and we again without children. That many people light candles for those, even Jewish people, they have, how it's called, the 25th of December, Hanukkah, and they have candles, yes, but we have no children yet.
It's said in Hebrew, choshech, it means no light.
Okay.
When you don't have children, it's a choshech, it's no light,
You have
it's
no.
life.
Okay, that's true.
The expression is...
That was another action that we have. We ask people to write letters telling how did they feel, or sending a photo, and then we stick them in front of the National Congress. I think that they didn't like it at all. But the idea was to show not only that we are many people, but that we have feelings and that we are waiting for a baby. We are not asking for anything, we are asking for one of the most important things in the world, to have a family. That's good for us. And that's nice in English. It was hard in Spanish. That's art for ART, yes, art for art. And what did we do? We invite a plastic artist, and he was so nice to come and not to ask to be paid. He comes for free to paint a mural in front of the. Maybe you can notice that behind is the government house, the pink house. Okay, and he started to paint it. He did it alone. The whole day. He started in the morning and he finished in the afternoon. And okay, that was another. We try to be nice. We try to be soft. We try to be gentle. Yes, that's the kind of work we do. In the media, okay, anything is important for us. TV, radio, magazines, newspaper, anything is important. We need people to learn and know about us so that we are always ready, okay? And we need different people, not always the same face talking to them, okay? We are a group, we work as a group. Okay, this is the hard part. I think that Ofra will be talking about how to deal with government and politicians and other members, but it's really hard work. In order to have their votes, you need to be there when they invite you. But at least in my country, politicians, they don't ask you for your skill. They invite you, they say, okay, I can meet you Monday at 3 o'clock. Okay, and you have to be there in order not to miss this opportunity, so that it can be only one person. We need a team. We have a team of about 7, 6, 8 people trained, because you have to be trained to talk with politicians. They know how to lie. They know how to make promises. They know how to evade a subject when they want, so that you need to train people to deal with that kind of things, in order not to say, okay, we had a very nice meeting, but then afterwards nothing happened. So that you need to know how to convince them, how to pressure them. So that we have, you can see different moments and situations. Then workshops and conference. We have workshop with patients, but we have conference anywhere. Not only in professionals, congresses or meetings with doctors, with psychologists, with biologists, but also we went to hospitals, we talked with nurses, we went to school to talk with children, mostly in high school. Here you can see everywhere working with other associations too. Okay, and since year 2009, I think it was 9, we started working with the Argentine Medical Society for a campaign for to take care of the fertility. That is, anything you can do before, if you can, sometimes you cannot, is a kind of prevention. So that we started with the age of the women, yes, trying to transmit to the society, to the public, that the age is important. Even with middle and upper classes, they think that, okay, you can start your career, you can have your degree, your post-degree, but the child will come whenever you want, okay? But reality is not like that. Unfortunately, the age of the women is very important. Now we have vitrification, yes, but it's starting in our country, so that young women vitrificate their eggs, so that they can go on with their lives and then have children afterwards. And then we had another campaign talking about being fathers after cancer, yes, and that's true. Cancer is not being cured, but the probability of surviving a cancer are higher and higher. And then, okay, many people after cancer want to become parents, but you have to preserve your fertility before the treatment, because that's not possible. And the other was the impact of the eating frustums, yes, anorexia and bulimia on infertility. So that the idea, and next year I think we want to consumption of cigarettes and other alcohol or drugs, and the impact they have in fertility. So that we're talking about a step before being infertile, how to take care. And I think that it is very important to show that we are not thinking only in our problem. Yes, we care about society and other people too, and healthy people too. But we need to do that in coordination with doctors. Yes, it's not, the patient association should not ever talk about medical aspects without the approval of doctors. Here it's, okay, I mentioned ICSI and YAPO, and you can see working in different countries and talking and trying to explain. This is the moment of the foundation of the Latin American network. This is in Chile. Now we have these members. It's in alphabetic orders, please. Argentina, Brazil, Chile, Colombia, Mexico, and Uruguay. Uruguay has a law too. A new law, okay, passed last year. That's why very important that other countries learn from what we did. That we have balloons, and we were very, very happy. And okay, we work, and anyway, how to express what we think, how to express our position. That's something, we do something that's graphic. In the middle, in the center, you can see people from different countries printing their hands, yes, showing that, okay, we'll be here, and we are working, but that's what we left, our print. That's the idea. Huh? That's at the end of your life, what's going to stay is the prints that you left, okay? Because we're just passing by. Okay, here, different countries, in Brazil, Chile, Mexico, Panama. We've been everywhere. Trying, for us it's easier because we speak Spanish, but we have a problem with Brazilian people. Okay, but we will learn. Okay, those are different activities in Argentina with different associations. They are younger than us. The oldest of the new associations is 8 years, so that we are quite experienced. But our concept is always to invite them, not to be member of us. We want them to be independent, but to work together. It's easy to say, but it's hard to do. People struggle, there are tensions, they want to show off, they feel important. Things that happens in any group, so that you have to train people to how to deal with that kind of human things. That will happen. because we are people. And why do we do that? Why should a person devote 20 years of his life for that? The one is that's so simple, and it's so nice, really. Okay, thank you very much. I have the video. It's 3 minutes. 3 minutes. It's 3 minutes. If you want to see a video, that's a documentary that you are doing in our country, so that you can see. The person who's talking is the director. He's talking about his personal story. It's very short, 2 minutes and a half, I think. So that's.
Hijo, voy a contar una historia. Una historia que debería haber tomado no más de 9 meses y que se transformó en una larga historia. Nuestra historia fue diferente y te la quiero contar.
Est-ce qu'il y a des gens qui ont des questions pour Estela et J'aimerais maintenant vous présenter Philomena Gallo de l'Italie.
Voy a contar una historia.